Good morning, and good morning. It is Brent Harding, and you are joining us on Wealth Warrior Broadcast. It is my pleasure to bring the show to you today, and this is my favorite time of the year when it comes to Wealth Warriors. And the reason for that is because now more than ever, you can negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. This morning, we're going to be talking about negotiating credit. And each week, we're going to talk about negotiation right up until Christmas time because this is the sweet hour for us as wealth warriors. I want to start out by welcoming all of our new warriors that have joined us this week. I will be posting them on the Wealth Warrior site right after the broadcast. So I want to welcome you and say congratulations because all of us that are aspiring for wealth, and in this case, it is financial wealth. Now, there are all kinds of wealth. There is physical wealth, there's spiritual wealth, there's financial wealth, there's a plethora. But in this case, what we're talking about is first generation wealth babies. In fact, somebody go up and hashtag first generation wealth babies. No, better yet, hashtag I am a first generation wealth baby. And I'm running with the hashtag right now that says, I am the possibility, because we all are. And we're here for a purpose and reason. What is that purpose and reason? To create wealth, not only for ourselves, but for every generation thereafter. You know, I always say that wealth, right? Wealth, old money didn't start off as old money. It was new money that became old money as a result of what you and I do with that money. So here is your time to shine. Here is our time to shine and to have our picture up on the back wall that says, remember, it was Auntie so-and-so, Uncle so-and-so, Grandma so-and-so that caused me to live the lifestyle. But here's the deal. Everyone has to contribute to the process. In other words, I'm just not going to give it to you. There's got to be some earning in there. Why? Because we have to remember, we have to know what the process is. You know, it's like learning social media right now. Oftentimes your kids will grab your phone and say, hey, I'll take care of it. Click, 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 click. And you have no idea what the process is. Well, in this case, we want to document that wealth process. By April of 2016, we want to have some exciting stories about lives that have been changed as a result of what we're doing today, right now. I want to give a shout out before we get started to, among the many faithful, I really do appreciate you, Kelly McGovern. I want to shout out to Elisa Lopez Thomas, to Mildred Allen, to Gloria Fox, our state representative, and so many more of you. Virginia Traverse. Just want to say thank you, Edward Chatterton. You all are here every single week, and we appreciate your support. Want to also give a shout out to our October man, Robert Randolph, who's not with us this week, but he certainly will be with us next week. By the way, at the end of the show, I'm going to give some important announcements for you to be on the lookout for as well. Okay, so with that said, why, Brent, are you so excited about this time of year when it comes to negotiating? The reason is the bottom line. Lenders, investors, bankers, creditors, all of them are watching their bottom line. It's what money can they bring in the door that improves their bottom line. And to that end, you are going to hear from creditors who are going to offer you deals to pay more than the usual, to bring your debt down. If you have credit cards, they want you to bring your credit card debt down, and they will offer all kinds of deals to incentivize you so that you can do just that. And it is exciting because you get to negotiate. So let's talk first about the credit card companies. There are companies that are going to offer you deals to, again, move that dial down, to lower that credit card debt, and it brings dollars into their households. So in a matter of speaking, if you've got cash that you can put towards reducing that debt, now is the time. Now is not the time to run the credit cards up for Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, and not. No, cash is king. Because you know what happens when you use cash? You tend to spend less because you start thinking, hmm, not that much in my pocket. Or not that. I'm not willing to let it go. I like the way that $100 bill looks in my pocket. I like the way the $50. I hate breaking a $100 bill because it goes so fast after you break it. You know what I mean? So cash is king. Creditors want to up their bottom line, and they are willing to negotiate with you. Listen to the deal. Listen to what they have to offer. Remember this. Many of our credit faculty experts here at the Wealth Warriors will share with you, you do not want to have more than 70% of your lines of credit tied up in debt. That means that you've spent up to that amount. Actually, the lower, the better. You really would like to have it at no more than 50% of that line of credit. So if the line of credit is worth 100,000, then you really do not want to be more than 50,000. That and absolute 70,000. But we're trying to move the dial down to 50%. Is it possible to look at your credit cards and say, instead of putting a little here, a little here, a little here, a little here, how about take all of that and chunk the monkey? Get rid of that one. Then work on the next one, work on the next one, work on the next one. See what your credit card companies have to offer. Do they have lower interest rates because you've been a great customer? Can we bring that down? Can you consolidate and free up, move that debt over to one card, free up these cards, put those away, get a cash life, and then chunk the monkey on this one? What I'm going to suggest is if you decide to use that method, the first thing is see if you can reduce the interest rate on that one. After you've done that, then move everything over here. Now, I got to tell you something. This particular Wealth Warrior episode is going to be up for 1 week, and then it's going to be archived because there are going to be a number of creditors that are not going to be happy with the information that you are getting right now. And this next one, this is the deal. Okay, let me sit back here. If you regrettably have creditors calling you, if you have collection companies calling you, this is the time to negotiate. Now, remember this. Let's start with collection agents. Collection agencies typically have purchased your debt for pennies on the dollar or dollars on the hundreds. So let's say it's $1,000. They may, that collection agency may have purchased that debt for a couple $100 because it's been outstanding for so long. What they want to do is anything past, let's say a couple $100, anything past that $200 mark is gravy for them. It is gravy. So would I be trying to get the whole 1,000? Absolutely. But I know anything between 200 and that $1,000 is outstanding. So they are going to go after that. So here's the deal. This is the time to negotiate, but you're going to negotiate for two PowerPoints. First PowerPoint you're going to negotiate for is what is it going to cost you to pay it off, to pay it in full. That's one. So let's say that negotiation is $700. Can we move the dial down to $500? That's first and foremost. Now I will say this, the amount of payments oftentimes will dictate how far down the dial will go. So what do I mean by that? You owe $1,000. You say, hey, I have cash. I can pay you $500 right now, or I can pay you $450 right now, or $475. Remember, it does not always have to go down in terms of the 0-0. You might do $475, $485, $465. You want to get somewhere, let's say, in that $400 range, okay? So now you've negotiated you've come up with a negotiation. What that collection agency is going to want to know is, can you make it in one payment? You make it in one payment, 475, we're golden. You've got to make it in 2 or 3 payments, we're now going up the dial. So the probability is, instead of getting that 475 one-time deal, you're probably looking at about $600 to $700 because they're going to break it up into 2 payments. And the first payment, you better believe, is going to cover what they actually cherry-picked that deal for. So that means that, let's say they paid $300 for it. That first payment is going to be at least $300 because they've got to cover what they spent. And then everything after that is gravy for them. Now, here's that was one. So you've set the pricing, you've negotiated how the payment's going to occur. Here is something that's absolutely delicious. I love it. And that is this. If you can do one payment, what you likely will be able to do is negotiate for what the trade line on your credit report looks like. What do I mean by that, Brent? You may negotiate for a statement that says paid in full, and you do not want any credit history on there. You don't want any 30, 60, 90, 120-day lates on there. Now, oftentimes that cherry picker collection agent is going to say, I can't do that. Oh, yeah, you can. You can go back to the creditor and you can negotiate on my behalf to have a paid in full statement on the credit report with no credit history. You could have a paid satisfactory, and you can be honest about the paid satisfactory because at this point you've paid satisfactorily to the collection agent. Because you are not going to hear a wealth warrior lie about something. You have paid the collection agent satisfactorily. You have legitimately paid the debt in full. Those are statements that are nebulous enough and yet truthful. What you want to make sure is that there's no payment history anymore on that account. Now, is that a nugget? Hashtag paid in full. Hashtag paid satisfactorily. Is that not a sweet nugget? Because that is a golden nugget. Now, right after we do the fingers on the keyboard, I'm going to tell you how you get that legitimized. Are you ready? Okay. Well, before we go any further, I know a couple of things. I know there were some nuggets that you heard today. Also, I know there are people out there watching the broadcast that haven't checked in. We want to know who you are. Go up to the broadcast, go up to the Wealth Warrior site and let us know a couple of things. Who you are, where are you hailing from? I'm hailing from Boston, Massachusetts. And what are you looking for today? I shared with everybody, I am Brent Harding. I'm hailing from Boston, Massachusetts, and I am running for a position within my company. I am running for a presidential executive within Vacation Travel. And what I shared with you is that I've got some amazing ladies that are running with me and a couple of fellas too. We're working as a team, as a unit to raise each other up. They're running for positions and I'm running for positions. And right now, you know what I'm looking for? I'm looking for people that are looking for me. How about that? Looking for people that have a mindset, that have leadership skills, that want to grow a business group, that are entrepreneurial in their endeavors, who want to make money. Because guess what? I have proof. I've got documentation that says I'm getting a residual check and it's got a comma in it. Those are the type of individuals that I'm looking for. Are you looking for an opportunity? Well, if you are, then we should talk. Inbox me. That's what we want to hear from you. What have you got? Because this is about us keeping the wealth within the family. If we can support each other's businesses, then we are growing a community. That's what's going to get us to 100,000 people around the world that have wealth. And you know what happens with that? Wealth begets wealth, and wealth helps wealth. And there is everything right about having financial freedom. So, without further ado, your name, where you are hailing from, and what it is that you either do, what you need so that we can support each other. And then tell us, what kind of nuggets have you gotten thus far? Because I know you've gotten some. At a minimum, it should be a hashtag paid in full, hashtag paid satisfactorily. Hashtag I am a wealth warrior. Hashtag I am a first generation wealth baby. Hashtag I am the possibility. How rich does that sound? Does that make you feel rich? Because I'll tell you what, you've got to feel it in order to exude it and to generate it to you. That is powerful. So, on your mark, get set, hit the keyboards. Let's tell the world what's going on. This is an open book for us today. We have opened up the doors and said, come on in, become a wealth warrior, and get the nuggets so that you can create wealth for your family. How about that? Okay, now without further ado, let me share a nice little tidbit with you. It's called the letter. That's right. Letter. I know someone's saying, Brent, you didn't have, I can hear you. Yes, but I just want to make sure I emphasize it. The most important part of that credit negotiation with the collection agent is the letter. And it's a tug of war because the creditor is not creditor, I'm sorry, the collection agent wants to make sure they get their money. You want to make sure you get a letter. What is the letter saying? The letter is saying that you have paid the debt satisfactorily or you've paid the debt in full, and that each credit bureau will be notified and your credit report will be updated to reflect that. You also put in there that no other credit history will be listed. That is such a key. I cannot tell you, ladies and gentlemen, how very important that is. Now, the last paragraph is going to have an expiration on it. And what it's going to say is if the money is not received by the creditor or by the, in this case, I forget myself, the collection agent within 72 hours, the letter is null and void. That generally is the only way that you're going to get a collection agent to negotiate and to get a letter for you. You want that letter faxed. You don't want it emailed. And I know some of you say, well, faxing has gone out of fashion. Well, guess what? Faxing is not. And when we're offline, or if you see me at an event, remind me to share with you the power of faxing that I heard from an attorney. That one, I can't even put that up on the Wealth Warrior broadcast. That is such a hot one. That is platinum, baby, platinum. So let's go through the process one more time. We are talking today about negotiating. And in particular, it is negotiating credit. It is negotiating your way back to a healthy credit report. And the reason that this time of year is so pivotal is because of the bottom line for lenders, for creditors, for investors, for anybody in the money industry. They want to raise the bottom line. Let me take that back though. Some investors want to reduce their bottom line. So let me go through and say for your credit card companies, for your lenders, for some creditors, they want to show a positive bottom line. And therefore, they are willing to negotiate. And it generally only happens, or let me put it this way. the strongest, the most powerful, the most negotiating time of the year, November 1st through December 31st. Now, I know I've said in the past that the closer you get to the Christmas, the better the bottom line. Well, I'm going to revise that and say that the jig is up. Some of my creditors that have listened to the broadcast, they go, you know what, Brent? No, we're not going to do that because you told them that. We're not going to do that. So I'm going to say negotiate the best deal you can now because it's past November 1st. So negotiate a great deal for yourself. We're talking about right now collection agents. Now, they've got to do some double time because they've got to go to the creditor. Yeah, they've got to go to the creditor in order to get that letter. And that letter is critical. Now, here's the deal. You want to send that register return receipt requested, not just certified, spend the money. You want somebody signing that they got that letter. Okay? When you have completed that transaction, you've got a date. So you want to keep everything. You want to keep the receipts so that you're able to substantiate that you paid it on time. All right. I'm going to say, yeah, you can send a check, but most of them are going to want a money order. And the reason that they want that is because that's pretty much guaranteed money in the bank. Some may even want a bank check, and a bank check is a little bit different because very rarely can you pull back from a bank check once that, because that's guaranteed money, more so guaranteed than a money order. So where you might rescind something, this or stop payment, generally you're not going to stop payment on a bank check. So think about that one. That is your collection agent, and that is a powerful piece. So get your credit reports right now. Go and order your credit reports. Review those. Make sure that the information is correct. Anything that you have in the collection that's in collection, now is the time where cash is king or queen, whichever you prefer. Okay, that's for your credit cards. No, rephrase, for your credit collection agents. Now you've got the creditors themselves, the direct ones. And again, I'm going to deal with your credit cards, but you've got the creditors directly, that credit card company. You still have power to negotiate with them. It's in collections. Ask them what they can offer you. If you really like that card and you want to keep that card, then might be tough, but I have seen some that have allowed, if it's no more than 90 days past due, so actually you've got past due and you've got collection. If it's in the past due status, you still have some negotiating power. However, my grandfather used to say, when your hand is in the lion's mouth, take it out slowly so it doesn't grab you. So if you are 90 days in 90 days in past due, you still got an opportunity to reduce that down. I would say to you, seize it, because generally after 90 days, on day 91, it flips over and it's now in the collection department of the creditor's company. And once it's in the collection department, the use of your card is now gone. And I'll tell you, there are some cards out there that you never want to let go. You know which ones they are, but you really do not want to let them go. They've got a lot of power. When it gets into the collection department of that company, it's usually in there from about day 91 to day 120. After that, they oftentimes consider it a lost leader. However, at this time of year, they still may be collecting in-house to see what they can grab in-house, because whenever it goes to a collection agent, it's a true loss of money. It really is, because now they're selling it for cents on the dollar, sometimes hundreds on the thousands, but they basically have written it off. And once they've written it off, profit and loss, they've written it off, the negotiation is tough. What you may end up negotiating with a collection agent is that the trade line be removed from the credit report. You may end up negotiating that because the creditor is so that a credit card company is so infuriated that they're just not negotiating anything. You might be able to negotiate for the trade line to be removed because oftentimes you'll have the creditor trade line and you'll have the collection agent trade line. And what you want is either paid satisfactory, paid in full, or remove it totally so that you can have another credit life. Because you know what? Life happens. We all deserve a second opportunity to get it right. And here's the opportunity to get it right. I will say this. If you have it in-house where it is still with the creditor themselves, that's a good position to be in because there's still opportunity there for doing business in the future. If you don't, and it's outside and it's in the collection agent, then the best thing that you're going to hope for is a trade line that is complete so that you can continue on. Those are probably the best things that you're going to be able to negotiate right now. With that being said, collection agent, the creditor, in this case, the credit card company itself, you've negotiated. You work the same way that you do with a collection agent in that what you want to do is, let me rephrase that. It's really contingent upon what you're looking for. Do you still want use of that card, or do you want to just be able to get a positive notation on the credit report? Remember that credit history is usually 24 months. So that means that let's say it did go 120 days and it's now a year later. Well, you've got 12 solid months of good reporting, and that raises that credit score. So all is not lost. It's contingent upon what it is that you're looking for. This is one time where you're going to be working two tracks. You're going to be working the negotiation track and the planning track. What is it that I want to go into 2016 doing? What do I want to look like? What kind of credit do I need access to? That's going to be important. I've got to tell you something. In America, most Americans, if you are in your 20s, you've got at least 1 to 2 credit cards. If you're in your 30s, you probably have about 5 good credit cards. When you get in your 40s, now we need to be careful from 40 and above because we can get credit card happy. I had one client in my lifetime when I was in the mortgaging industry that truly had a deck of credit cards. Everybody know how many cards there are in a deck? Can you believe somebody actually had that? Yes, they did. I was astonished. And what's more, there was something owed on all of them. Okay, so we have talked about credit cards. We've talked about collection agents. What about your general creditors? That could be furniture. That could be a store. Whatever the case may be, the process still works the same, contingent upon how far out you are. But always ask for a deal. You will not know unless you ask. It's as simple as that. Most of the time, things are there. Deals are there. Negotiating is there. Offers are there. Specials are there. But people do not know to ask. They are in the fine print sometimes. Now is a great time of year to ask for a reduction in the interest rate of whatever it is that you have. It doesn't hurt. Some will say, "Oh, we don't reduce interest rates." Oh, there are options. If you've been a good customer, if you've paid your bills on time, there's always opportunity. And guess what? Never take no. Always go to the next person until there is nobody else to go to. Hey, I've known clients that have written to the company itself, to the corporate headquarters, and have gotten things that make me stand in awe. So this is the time of year to ask for the reductions. About the only thing that I know of I don't know. I'd have to talk to a couple of folks about can you reduce the interest rate on your mortgage? I don't think you can just make a call for that. But you can ask for different things. You can talk to your mortgage company about paying a higher principal, paying more on the principal so that you can, if, for example, let's say you have $5,000. Can it reduce the monthly payment? Because if I paid $5,000, $10,000 towards the mortgage, towards the principal, that would obviously reduce the amount of money that's owed. Does that reduce my monthly payment? I have seen that happen, but generally it's usually a large chunk of money. It's usually something like 25,000. But if that's what you're looking for and it makes good business sense, then you would do it. In some instances, though, I would look at that 25,000 and I would want to ponder over, could I get a revenue stream as a result of that $25,000 that makes sense? Would it make more sense for me to invest it, or would it make more sense for me to chunk the monkey, if you will? And that would be one that a financial planner, I would talk to my mortgage company about that, what kind of reduction it would make. And I would talk to my financial planner. I might talk to my tax accountant to see what kind of impact it would have, because a 25 grand is a good chunk of money to have, to be able to invest, to put to good use. 10 grand is a good amount to put to good use. So that would be where I would, negotiation might be a little bit different. Are we good with that? Okay. So again, collection agent, credit card, your general creditors, can you negotiate with them for your credit? It all starts with pulling that credit report to see what you actually have that is outstanding, so that you know who gives you the best deal, because you might just want to plunk money on one or two, depending on who's giving you the best deal to reduce interest rate, to reduce what you owe, whatever the case may be. That's what you are looking for. It is negotiation time, baby, and we want to take advantage of everything that is out there. So right now, what I'd like for us to do is we need to let some folks know. We need to blitz on Twitter. We need to let some folks know that, guess what? There's something happening here and you want to hear about it, because it's going to positively affect your families. It's going to positively affect your ability to access more, because you will never, never have as much money as you have credit. When you've got access to credit, you have got a multitude. So we want to protect it. We want to negotiate it. We want to get a new life. If the unfortunate has happened and we have fallen down, guess what? There's no trap door, because we refuse. We took the hammer, we banged, we put the nails in. We will not open up the trap door. So all we have to do is to go up. That's right, just go up. So this is what I want us to do. We're going to do a little flash mob here. We're going to go to Twitter and we are going to tweet, join us on the Wealth Warrior broadcast. That's what we're going to tweet. So we want to let folks know who we are, where we're from, and what we want. But right now, we're going to Twitter and we are going to tweet out, join us on the Wealth Warrior broadcast. We got nuggets, baby. So on 5, I'm going to count down from, I'm going to count up rather, from 1 to 5. And on 5, we are going to do a flash mob. So make sure everybody's ready. What we want to do is we want to go to Twitter and we are going to say, join us on the Wealth Warrior broadcast now. Can we do that? 1, put the fingers on the board. 2, get ready. 3, 4, 5, flash mob on Twitter. Yes, we want a flash mob, because 100,000 of us in the next 50 months. No, I'm sorry. We're down. We're below 50 months. Yeah, we're about 50 months. In the next 50 months, we expect great things. We expect you to have wealth. Wealth in cash, wealth in real estate, wealth in solid stock that it makes sense for us to have. We have spent this first, not 12 months, but we're coming up on about a good 8 months. We've spent a good 8 months now talking about wealth, getting some elements together. Well, I've got news for you. 2016 is going to be our time because we are going to raise the bar from Studio 116 and beyond. We have a lineup going into 2016 that has specialists, SMEs, people on here. We are going to spend time building. We are going to spend time learning about what our business is all about. What our business? What is our business? We are the CEOs of Me Inc. That's right. We are the chief executive officer of ourselves, and we are a business. We're in the business of living. We're in the business of creating wealth. Me Inc. That's who we are. And 2016 is our year because we've been practicing. So the biggest practice right now is your ability to negotiate, your ability to go for the no. And what does that mean? That means you're going to hear a no, but you're going to get to a yes. Do not settle until you get to the yes. That means however many phone calls it takes to get it squared away, you're going to do that. In fact, this morning I was watching a Channel 5 here in the Boston, Mass, and a woman had bought a refrigerator from a store. And the refrigerator, it was the freezer section that was the problem. And what was happening is she was getting frost on her food. Doesn't make sense. She had had the warranty. And this thing kept going on for months. And she was calling, they were coming out and repairing. And finally, the store said, you know what? No, we're done. We have done everything that we are obligated to do. We are done. Now, in this case, she kept on going. So finally, she contacted Channel 5. She contacted one of the buzzers, one of the people, not buzzards. I said buzzers. One of the people that is in the business of investigating that investigator got in contact with the store. End result, she got all of her money back, plus she got $100 gift card to do business over there and things that she needed. She bought her a new freezer. I don't know if she bought it from that same place, but she bought her new freezer. She's happy. You know why? Because she went for the no. She said, I am not, until I get to a yes, I'm going to keep calling. I'm going to keep calling. I'm going to keep calling. It's the same way here with negotiating for what you want to clear and clean up your credit report as much as humanly possible so that time will raise your numbers. And this is a beautiful time of year. In fact, this is a time of year if you owe or you have collection agents that have been calling you all year that you have been buzzing them off. Now you want them to call you. Please call me because I've got money and I want to negotiate a deal. And it's all about the deal. The more sophisticated we are about understanding the possibilities, that's why I said hashtag I am the possibility. The more we understand about the possibilities, the greater our opportunity for negotiating on our behalf. Cash is king. So I'm going to say we might want to be modest about this time of year in terms of gifts and things that we're doing. If that's what we do, we may want to be modest about that because we want to use that cash to create our wealth. This is that time. We want to be able to use the cash to create the wealth. Where's the wealth? The wealth is in cleaning up that credit report so that we can get access to more lines of credit. Now, here's going to be an unusual one that I'm going to share with folks. This is off the grid in terms of negotiation, but it has to do with your credit cards. If you've got credit cards in your wallet that you've never used, you need to use them. What? What did she just say? If you don't use, you will likely what? Lose. Creditors are not keeping lines of credit open for you if you're not using it. So go ahead, use it a little bit, get some trade line action going on and pay it off. But you've got to use it so that you do not lose it. That's what you want to do. You want to pay some down. You want to at least use it. Now, let me roll back for those that are just joining us. And for those that have heard it, guess what? It's going to be repetition. And repetition is what? The mother of retention. So we started off with creditors, collection agents. And what we said about the collection agents is this: negotiate with them. They bought it. They've cherry picked. They have bought in a lot. Usually it's 100 at a shot. And what they've done is they have bought a box, if you will, of notes, of debt. Let's say they bought 100 pieces. They bought them. Sometimes they cherry pick. That means they're looking for the best, or they've just bought it and they're hoping that out of that, they've gotten enough that they can be profitable. And so the likelihood is, if it's $1,000 or less, they bought it for hundreds of dollars. If it's less than $500, they bought it for pennies on the dollar. And what they want to do is they want to get what the creditor should have gotten. And so what they are open to doing is negotiating above their threshold. What's their threshold? The threshold is whatever they paid to buy that debt. And they're now looking to make a profit. Collection is profitable. And sometimes they'll wait years, but they're going to get their money. But right now, it's negotiation time. They want to increase their bottom line, and so they're open to doing business with you. It works very well with them. It works well with your general creditor. It works well with your collection, with your credit card company. The most pivotal part with the collection company is what you can negotiate in the letter. The letter is king, because the letter is the cleanup. It either gets a trade line that says paid satisfactory, it gets a trade line that says paid in full, or it gets a trade line off your report. And guess what? That's what you want, is a trade line that's not on your report at all. Is that powerful? Yes, it is. If you are 90 days or less, then you want to negotiate with your credit card company, depending on if you want use of that credit card. And I'm going to say you want use of it, because at some point it becomes positive. There's generally 24 months that are recorded on your history. And so the more, the further back that negative gets, the stronger your position is. If you've got credit cards and if you haven't used them, use them. Do not go buck wild. Now, Brent didn't say go buck wild. The founder of the Wealth Warriors, the founder of the Wealth Commitment, did not say that. What she said is use it a little bit, pay it off. What I also talked about is if you have one credit card that you've got a strong line on that's got a lower interest rate, or you can reduce that interest rate, then you might want to move that debt from those other cards on here and start chunking this monkey down. Chunk the monkey means to pay it down, because credit is a good thing if used wisely, if used very wisely. Now, I'm sure Kelly, reason I mentioned Kelly McGovern, who's a real estate broker right now, and congratulations to you on that. When she is working with you on purchasing a piece of property, then the payment, sometimes you end up having to pay down on the credit cards, not because you had poor credit, but because you have to fall within the ratios in order to qualify for that mortgage. And so let's get in the habit of monitoring our lifestyle such that we're no more than 50% outstanding or 50% debt on our credit, on our lines of credit. Now, sometimes we will want to use that equity line to move that credit card debt over and pay that down, because usually that's a lower interest rate. So again, we're improving our posture and our position. We're asking for deals. What do you got to offer at this time of the year? Because all creditors have something to offer at this time of the year, and we want to take advantage of that. We also, you've heard me over and over and over again, and I'm going to be talking about, we're going to dedicate another broadcast to negotiating the deal in terms of opening up a business because you need it. Every wealthy person, every wealthy person has real estate. Every wealthy person is a real estate investor. Did you hear that? I said it softly because I want you to come close and hear me. Powerful. Absolutely powerful. I got to tell you, if you did not get a nugget today, then you weren't watching the broadcast because we gave you nuggets today. Nuggets, nuggets, nuggets. You want to take all of those and you want to utilize those to create the wealth for you right now and for the generations behind you. And by the way, if you have children, if you have grandchildren, guess what? Start teaching them now. Start teaching them about money. Start teaching them about credit so that by the time they get to college, it is old hat for them. By the time they get to college, they've got the right attitude. They do not end up in the boats that a lot of us ended up in because we weren't taught. Somebody didn't teach us. And we can't fault it because oftentimes what I remember something my mother said, she said, I can't teach you what I didn't know. And so we have an obligation to learn. And I'll tell you what, if you do not have time to read the books, then learn it on the run. Pick up the YouTube and start listening and building up that base, building up that knowledge. That's what makes us grow. Put ourselves back into school. I know every single one of us can set aside an hour. You're an hour with me. So set aside another hour to listen and to learn because we want to make it happen. Wouldn't you love for your life to go from where you are today to an internet-based lifestyle because you are working from home? You have power. You have gained wealth in every aspect, in every way. Because I'm going to tell you something. There is nothing that will I'm trying to think of the right word, but there's nothing that will crunch your life more than being in fear. Being in fear that you are not going to have a job. Being in fear that if you do not do something for your boss, you're not going to have a job. And so we live in that kind of realm. And guess what? You know what? A lot of our young folks have said, I'm not going to live like that. Well, neither should you. You have the power. You are the CEO of Me Inc. And I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I'm not because I haven't seen anybody put up on our Wealth Warriors site, I have reached the zenith. I am financially free. I'm out. Haven't seen that yet. We're giving ourselves 5 years. Certainly there should be a chunk of us in 36 months from April of this year, count and go 36 months in. Within 36 months, there should be a number of us that are in that position because we have credit, lines of credit, real estate. We are investors. We own our own businesses. And we are now in position where we can gather together with other warriors and say, let's cut some deals together. Let's buy some real estate together. Let's invest together. Let's grow our families together. Let's create the wealth that America was built on. It was built on having those freedoms. People will swim the ocean to get here, to get that credit, to get here to do business, to get here to own real estate. It's our turn. Am I right? Yes, I am. Hey, I got some announcements for you before we wrap up. If you are in the Boston area on December 9th, then you want to be with me at the Best Western That is the Best Western Adams Inn at 29 Hancock Street in Boston. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, in Quincy, Massachusetts. We have two incredible women that are going to be in Boston. We have Shanaza Dusan and we also have Tanya Mizell. They are inspiration personified. And what are they going to be talking about? Opportunities, opportunities, opportunities. These ladies are dynamic. And what's more, they have created residual income for themselves, and they've helped others to do that. They're going to be talking about opportunities. They're going to be talking about money. They're going to be talking about how you get your own. And right now, we want to get that before the year is up. So you're going to be talking to two ladies. One of them, Shanaza Dusan, not only is she a wealth builder and a wealth warrior, she is also a tax consultant. She has a tax practice, if you will, and she will lay some nuggets on you that will be amazing. Remember that book, 475 Tax Exemptions for the Self-Employed? That's going to be the book. Tanya Mizell is an awesome real estate broker who has offices in her local area. She is from the Maryland, D.C. area, and she is going to not only talk about opportunities, but she's also going to talk about the amazing opportunities in employing yourself. I like to say plan B, employ me. Oh my goodness, October man, you are here just before we close out. Welcome, Bob.
Good morning. How are you?
Hey there. Well, you know what? I can't hear you. So something's up, but I'll tell you what, I can see you. That's a good thing. Try it again. Are you there, Bob?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I do not know, but I'll tell you what, if you manage to get the hearing part, because I can't hear you, I can see you, but I can't hear you. And I don't think it's my computer, or my broadcast. So, but if you get to us, then I'll tell you what, we want to hear what you have to say. We are 9 minutes away from the close of the hour. So I will share with you the announcements. December 9th, excuse me, is going to be pretty powerful here in the Boston area. And I just want to make sure that you know about that. It appears, I'm going to get back to you on that, we are going to have a Dubai night for wealth warriors, their families, their friends, and I will get back to you. I'll post that, but I expect to have a Dubai night, a travel party, in which I'm going to show the pictures of Dubai, of my experience in Dubai, which was awesome. I'm not going to show you all 896 pictures in 40 videos, but I am going to show you a wonderful time. We're going to be talking about travel. We've got an awesome itinerary, a group of us. I have an awesome itinerary for travel in 2016, and the first event starts in January. But throughout the year, we're talking about going to the Dominican Republic, going to Mexico, going to India in March, going back to Dubai. So we've got some exciting things happening for 2016, because here's the deal. You want to create wealth, and you also want to have some fun. But this is the deal. Can we have fun and get a check? That's what we're talking about. Can we use other people's money and make money and get a check? There is nothing like coming back from a trip to Dubai and having a residual check. That was awesome. So those are the kind of things that we're talking about. And we're going to try one more time. Hey, Bob, are you with us?
I think I am.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can see you, sir. I just cannot hear you. But I'll tell you, we appreciate the fact that you're here. I'll tell you, Bob is the man. I have enjoyed working with our what we call our we'll say our statesmen, our eldersmen. I have enjoyed working and continue to enjoy working with him. And we're still going to call him the October man, because that's when he started being a co-host on the broadcast. And guess what? When he leaves and moves to Panama, we're going to get him on the broadcast, because he can broadcast from Panama.
I certainly can.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to share with you, it has been my pleasure to be with you this morning. Negotiation, negotiation, negotiation. And I'll tell you what, I want to hear, inbox me with your success stories around negotiating. I want to hear those success stories that you have had with negotiating. You don't have to put, Bob, do we have you?
I don't think so.
Oh, yes,
My.
yes, we do. I hear you loud and clear.
Oh, can you?
Yes, I
Okay.
can. Well, sir,
Well,
I'll tell you what, negotiation, negotiation, negotiation has been the call for the day. You are the supreme, superior negotiator. Why don't I have you close out with a couple of words regarding negotiation?
yes. What comes to mind for me is a wonderful book about negotiation. It's called Getting to Yes. And in my experience, the secret of negotiation is not to win, but to have everybody involved in the negotiation win. So that always you're coming from the perspective of a win-win situation. And unfortunately, a lot of folks take an adversarial approach and
Mm.
say and approach negotiation from the point of view of, oh, I gotcha. And it's been my experience that that ultimately doesn't work. And what really works is to create a negotiating environment in which everyone involved wins. And that's my 2 cents worth on negotiation.
No, that's beyond a 2 cents worth. That is a somebody put in the feed put in the feed hashtag win-win because that's a good point, Bob. Throughout the entire program, to the broadcast today, I did not utilize that language about a win-win. I probably made it sound more adversarial because in my thought process, if we're negotiating and I'm giving you cash. I kind of figured that was your win, but I might have been slapping it a little too hard. Hmm.
Yeah, it's if you both parties should walk away from the negotiation table feeling good, feeling good about what they accomplished and the compromise that they were able to reach. Uh, and that is the ultimate result of a negotiation. The ultimate outcome is that everybody walks away from the table feeling whole, feeling not depleted or taken advantage of. Very
Point well
important point.
taken. Point well taken. I can see that that would be the case. Okay, warriors, you heard that. It's called hashtag collaborate, hashtag compromise, hashtag everybody wins. Point well taken, Bob. Well, you know what? At the end of the day, isn't life about negotiating? Isn't life about a negotiation?
Oh, absolutely. We negotiate all over the place.
We just don't think. So maybe we just don't think we're negotiating. Is that what it is?
Yeah, the fundamental negotiation is in a relationship. That's where people miss the boat a lot. You have to negotiate your way through a relationship. It's not, you know, give, people say it's give and take. You have to negotiate your way through, and probably one of the most powerful relationships that people could have, either business partners or love partners or whatever, is a negotiated relationship.
Oh, Bob, we're gonna have to have a show about that. Well, warriors, are you ready? Bob just ramped this up. Whoa, we will be negotiating relationships. Bob, that's kind of steamy, sir.
Okay, that came to mind.
Yeah. No, you're not getting off the hook, Bob. You opened up the door. What do they say when you're in the court? You opened up the door, so I'm walking in. I just opened up the door and said, we're going to have a show about negotiating the relationship. That is powerful. I like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's
You know, got me excited, Bob.
one of the
That,
most powerful relationships I've ever had was with a woman where we negotiated what our commitments were to each other.
yeah, I remember you mentioning that. We are definitely going to want to have to hear how that works because I don't think folks think about relationships from that perspective. We seem to somehow go in always thinking it's going to be hard and difficult because everybody tells us that.
Yep. But it can
And
be a piece
so,
of cake if you start from a very fundamental place of uh, of actually from a very fundamental place of commitments and understanding what the mutual commitments are and agreeing to them and or negotiating the ones that you can't agree to. And from there, you can build a very, very powerful relationship.
ladies and gentlemen, that in fact is the last word for today's broadcast. So do know, come the future, and the future is going to be before the end of the year, we're going to talk about negotiating relationships so that we go into 2016 immensely powerful. It has been my pleasure to have the October man, Robert Randolph, with us.
Thank
And
you.
you are so welcome, Bob. Thank you for being with us. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, in the words of Mr. Trevor Otts, go out and be amazing. Bye-bye now. See you next week. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll see you live the week after. We know that next week is going to be the weekend of Thanksgiving. For many people, it's going to be family and friends. So we will be live the following week. Have an amazing next week. Bye-bye now.